Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to make an under the mask self-portrait. So when we're done, we're going to have a portrait of ourselves that is wearing a mask that we can open up and reveal our true selves underneath. So what you will be needing today is in your art folder, you should have a white piece of paper that looks like this, and it should say mask or under the mask on it on a little piece of paper attached with a paper clip. We're also going to need a pencil, an eraser, and something to color with. I'm going to use crayons today, but you can use colored pencils, markers, or whatever else you have at home to color. Let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do to make our portrait is we have to fold our paper. We're going to fold our paper so the top and bottom line up. So I'm matching up my top and bottom edges of my paper, and then I'm going to crease it with my fingers. So now I've folded my paper in half and I have the opening positioned at the top. Once your paper is folded and that opening is at the top, we're going to bend down this front section, just this one piece, and we're going to fold that so it matches up with the bottom. And then I'm going to crease it. What you should be left with is a half of your paper at the top and then a pull down section here at the bottom so that we can add our mask and self-portrait. So now we're going to start to draw our self-portrait, and we're going to start to draw it in this top section. So I'm keeping my paper folded closed, and in this top section I'm going to start by drawing my eyes. So I'm going to look for the center of my paper. I'm going to put a little bit of a dot there just so I know, and I want my eyes on both sides. So I'm going to put one right here. I'm going to draw mine nice and big by doing two upside down U shapes or two hill shapes. I want them to be kind of the same size as best as I can. That looks good. And then I'm going to just close them off with another curved line on the bottom. Now here we want to make sure we're just drawing on the top half of our paper. We don't really want to draw on this edge or on the bottom section because that's where we're going to put our mask. And in order for it to fold open the right way, we need to just put the top half of our face from here up. So I have two eyes. I'm going to add my iris, which is the colored part of my eye, on the inside by doing a little bit of a circle in there. And then I'm going to add the pupil, which is the black part of our eye, right in the center of that. I'm going to add some eyelashes. Now yours doesn't have to look like mine because this should be a self-portrait, so you can draw, if you're wearing glasses, you can draw your glasses. If you want to have one eye open and one eye closed, you can do that. It is up to you. Now I'm going to add my eyebrows. So right above my eye, I'm just going to draw some eyebrows in. They're kind of like curvy rectangles. And now I'm going to add the top of my head. Now my head is going to be that same shape we started with our eyes. So it is like a big upside down U shape. And I'm just going to make that curve all the way across the top. I don't want to touch the top of my paper because I want to save some room for my hair. And I'm going to draw my hair next. So leaving some space up there, I am just sketching in the top of my head. Now I have bangs, so I have hair that comes down across my forehead, so I'm going to draw that in. If you have hair that comes down in front of your face, you can draw that. If you don't, you can just start to draw the hair on the top of your head. And now if you need some help with your hairstyle and with your self-portrait, I do have some self-portrait guiding sheets on canvas that you can look at. Now my hair is covering up that section of my head shape, so I can just erase that line. And now I'm going to add the rest of my hair coming from the top of my head. And I have wavy hair, so I'm going to do some wavy lines. If you want to draw a cool hairstyle with your hair spiked up, or maybe it's in braids or ponytails, you can do that also. Going to add some extra lines for some texture. And then I'm just going to erase that dot that I drew in the beginning in the middle. And there's the top half of my portrait all finished. Now I'm going to work on this next section, which is where our mask is going to be. So I still have that paper folded closed, and I am going to draw the rest of my head. So I'm going to look at the center of my paper and I'm going to put a dot down towards the bottom, and that's going to be where my chin is. So I'm going to connect the line that I drew to draw the top of my head and bring it down to complete the rest of my face shape. And I am also going to put a dot right here in the center towards the top, and that's where my mask is going to go up towards my nose, where it's going to cover my nose. So I'm going to do a big curvy line up to that dot and then back down on both sides. Now that I got those in place, I can erase that dot because I don't need it anymore. And now I have the bottom half of my face with my mask. Since I have long hair, I'm also going to continue those lines for my hair down towards the bottom edge of my paper because I don't want my hair to look like it just gets cut off. If you have shorter hair, it would make more sense for you to just leave it up at the top, but since mine is long, I'm going to carry it down. I'm also going to do two little lines going from my mask to the bottom of my paper just to show where my neck is. Now is the fun part where you get to decorate your mask. So you can draw whatever you would like on your mask. Maybe you want to draw your favorite mask that you wear every day. Maybe you want to draw a mask that you wish you had, or maybe you just want to decorate your mask with things that you like. Today I am going to do a striped mask. So I'm going to make a rainbow striped mask. So I'm doing a bunch of vertical lines going up and down all the way across, and then when I color them in later, I'm going to color them in all the colors of the rainbow, repeating to make a pattern. Now that I am finished with my mask, I'm going to open up my paper, and I have these two sections that are left. I have this section where my drawing stopped, and that goes all the way to that middle crease of my paper, and then I have this bottom section right above where my mask portrait is. I'm going to start right below my regular self-portrait up at the top, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did when I was making my mask. So I'm going to put a dot where my chin is going to be, and I'm going to connect my head just like that. I can erase that dot. I'm going to add two lines for my neck, and I don't want to draw past this folded crease because we're going to put something else in there. So I'm just drawing straight down towards that folded edge, but not passing that line. Now I'm going to add my nose. So my nose is going to be down here. I'm going to do a little round shape for my nose. And then I'm going to put a big smile. And now I'm going to add just a line straight across for my teeth and a tongue. Now, while I'm drawing this section of my face, I want to make sure I don't go up past my eyeballs with what I'm drawing, because we want to make sure it's covered when we're wearing our mask. So you can always fold your paper back up to make sure that what you're drawing isn't going to show, and you're not making your nose too high or your mouth too high or anything like that. Now that I have the bottom face of my portrait drawn, I'm going to just continue these lines like we did down below for my hair. And like I said, if you have short hair, you don't have to do that. But since mine is long, I want it to go all the way down. If you do have short hair and maybe your ears are showing, you can also add ears on the sides of your face with little C shapes. So now I have both of my portraits done. I have my portrait without my mask finished and my portrait with my mask finished. So I'm going to leave my paper open, and now I'm going to fill in this middle section that's left. So I want to fill in this middle section with different words that are characteristics of who I am. So I want to talk about my personality and all these positive things about what makes me me, so that once we take off our mask, we can show our true selves in what we look like and in who we are as people. So let's try and think of some words that describe ourselves that aren't necessarily about what we look like, but are more about who we are on the inside. So my first word I'm going to put is kind. I want to put some of my words in bubble letters, and I want some of them to be in regular letters. So to make bubble letters, I start with my capital letters as normal, and then I'm just going to draw a bubble shape around those letters. And then once I'm done drawing this bubble shape, I can erase the inside just like that. And now I'm left with some big, nice bubble letters. And once you color over it, you won't see those eraser marks that are on the inside. Let's see, I'm going to think of some other words that describe who I am. So I'm going to put artsy, and maybe I want to do this in some like swirly looking letters. So you can draw your letters however you want. And let's think of one more. I think I'm funny, so I'm going to put funny down. And I'm just going to do that in regular capital letters. If instead of doing bubble letters, you want to do block letters, you can do the same thing, but you're just going to make all those edges, instead of being round, more rectangular, so they would have sharp corners instead of round curves. Now I'm just going to add some little decorations. So I'm going to do maybe like an emoji, some shapes, and some lines to add emphasis to my words. So these are lines that bring your focus and your attention to the words by going towards them or underlining them. We're just making our words a little bit more special than just plain words. And again, when I'm drawing in this section, I don't want to go beyond either of those folded edges. I want to make sure that everything I'm drawing stays inside this little box here. And that is going to be my Under the Mask portrait all finished. I have sketched everything out, I have filled in all the sections, and I have created a portrait that looks like me. And to make sure that I did it right, when I fold it back up, I can see that my face is covered with my mask, and then I can pull that section down to reveal my full self-portrait and words that describe me underneath. Now, just like we do in class, I'm going to trace all of my pencil lines with my Sharpie. If you don't have a Sharpie at home, you can use any kind of marker or dark colored pencil to trace your drawing. We just want to make our lines stand out a little bit more for when we start to color. Once I'm done tracing my lines in my Sharpie, I'm going to go back in with my eraser and erase all the pencil lines that I have left. My portrait is finished. I went over all of my pencil lines with my Sharpie, and then I erased any pencil lines that I could still see. Now we're going to stop for this week, and next week we're going to color our picture together. So once you're finished tracing your drawing, after you've drawn it out in your pencil, you're going to put it back in your art folder, and we're going to save it for next week. Next week, we're going to end up coloring, and I'll post another video to show you how we're going to do that. So make sure you put your project in a safe place so we continue working on it next time. See you then.